Correct.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Having a look at Bitcoin, we did in fact have that pullback that we were anticipating potentially if we were to break to the downside out of this ascending wedge, which we noticed Bitcoin does tend to do a lot of the times. Now, we didn't have as much volume as we usually would have expected to have on a move like this. So the question is that actually short-term bullish? Well, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. You can see we might have had a little bit of a double top at around the 6.9K level, but I do want to actually go into what exactly is going on in the background because there's two things specifically I wanted to mention today. Number one being that we do actually have proof that the miners have been selling more Bitcoin than they've actually been mining. Now, this actually is both good and bad. I'm going to go into why. And I also want to talk about what is going on with crypto inflows and outflows from exchanges. We've actually seen a lot of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, moving away from the exchanges. However, interestingly enough, it's not being sold off. And I want to talk about what is actually going on and what the significance is of that. Moving forward, I also want to talk about a realistic end of the year target for Bitcoin. Obviously, granted what's been happening lately in the markets traditionally and in the world with the virus which shall not be named. I don't think we're going to be seeing some of these highs that we were calling for last year. And finally, I want to end on basically the mysterious disappearance of crypto BitLord. What is going on? He just absolutely vanished from Twitter. I want to talk about that. And finally, one very sort of creepy patent that they're calling it that Microsoft now has filed for a new cryptocurrency mining system. You're definitely going to want to stick around for this. It's a little bit weird, a little bit kind of sci-fi out there, but we're going to get into all that today. And if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we do this for the most part every single day. And without further ado, we are going to hop directly into the charts. Now, you can see right here that Bitcoin did in fact fall out of this ascending wedge pattern that we had. We did get supported perfectly by the 6.1K level. Now, keep in mind, we do have once again this previous support turn resistance. So if we were to pump straight up today, we're going to have some resistance at around the $6,480 level. The next level, 7.2K, but the ultimate level, and I'm not going to change my story until we get back above it, is I want to get back above the $7,860 level where we basically had this sideways movement that started around March 9th. If we can get above that, that is actually good for me. Now, also, I do want to point out, though, just having a look at this, if I take everything away, you can clearly see that we have put in a higher low. So we had a higher low here and a higher low here. So, I mean, technically, Bitcoin could still be considered in an uptrend as long as we don't breach 5,800. If we fall below that, then now we are reversing the trend, right? Having a look right here, you can see we're sitting back on top of basically this downwards channel that we were in. We may be headed back down to the heart line. Now, having a look right here, we are still technically trending upwards, although we're now underneath the support acting as resistance. I went over a lot of the targets in yesterday's video. I don't want to repeat myself again. If you're curious about some of these lower levels, potentially going down to 4,500. Is it possible? Well, like I said the other day, it does kind of look like Bitcoin has put in a double top. Usually when Bitcoin does double tops or double bottoms, it usually signals a reversal. But you could be looking around the 5.8K level to have a bounce back as well. However, having a look, it is sort of kind of having an eerie similarity to what happened here just before the major dump. You could see Bitcoin was essentially trending upwards in this ascending channel. Some people were calling it a bear flag. We had the massive dump. Well, this kind of also looks like it could be a bear flag as well. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't mean that we couldn't pump back up to the top of it, that being around the 7.2K level. But the question is, how long can we remain in this channel and what would potentially happen? Well, the question is, where would we break down to? Well, actually, if we have a look at what Crypto Cactus says, he's also looking at this as well. He sees this as the distribution phase, essentially that we might be having right up here at the top with a potential pullback, and he is looking at around the 5.5K level. Now, once again, talking about the significance of that level right around here, don't forget, $5,550 is where we have the ultimate support, which that's the yellow line right here, which essentially was the 200 weekly, which basically supported Bitcoin pretty much forever. We've literally never fallen below it. I mean, even when we fell below during the massive crash right here, we only wicked down to the VPVR, right? So staying above the 200 weekly would, I'm not going to say like bullish to the moon, but it would signal more healthy for Bitcoin than it wouldn't, right? Also, I want to point out this green line. You're probably wondering what that is. That is the 21 exponential, and it has played a significant part in Bitcoin, basically since we had a lot of the downwards pressure here. You could see back during the 2018 bear market, obviously Bitcoin kept topping out right around that. We would pull back. Finally, we had the ultimate resistance here. We dumped, and look at this, guys. As soon as we broke above it in April, well, it was basically blue skies, and Bitcoin went on a multi-month tear all the way up to the 14K high of 2019. You can see we danced around it for a little bit, but once we got back below it again, I mean, it was just straight dump down, right? Now, keep in mind, we did have a lot going on, obviously, in the world, but let's talk about what's actually happening in the background realistically. Who is selling, what is going on, and basically where these coins are moving, because a lot of them have been getting pulled off the exchanges. I'm going to tell you why in just a second, but you can see right here, according to what's called miners rolling inventory, or MRI, which is essentially a measure created by Bitree that tracks the changes in inventory levels. It's basically showing that throughout this 81% recovery rally that we had from the 3,000 kind of wick, $3,800 wick up, that miners were actually selling more Bitcoin than they were generating. Now, there's two ways you could look at this, okay? You do have Connor Abshine, whatever his name, I'm sorry, I probably said that wrong, but he's a crypto research analyst at Digital Assets Data. Now, he said that when prices of Bitcoin can rally sharply from local lows and buyers can actually absorb the Bitcoin, those extra Bitcoin sold by the miners, with not really seeing a lot of impact on the markets, really. We were only really fluctuating between these sort of key levels. He says that actually shows that the overall market is relatively strong. Now, on the flip side, if we look at a lot of the selling that took place on Wednesday this week, which was around 2,788 Bitcoin, they're also saying that maybe that wasn't statistically enough to have a meaningful impact on Bitcoin's price movements. In fact, if you look at all that Bitcoin sold compared to the total amount of Bitcoin in the world, these miners were selling less than 1% of the total supply. So take this with a grain of salt, but you can look at it as the miners are selling and it wasn't really affecting the market. So that was a good thing. That meant that people were willing to jump in and buy coins at those prices, meaning that maybe that was looking like a good price for them, but at the same time, it wasn't really a lot. It was less than 1%. So take that, as you will. But what I do want to talk about is what's been going on with the Bitcoin. So having a look at essentially the inflow and outflow of cryptocurrency exchanges, Glassnode actually pointed out that a lot of crypto traders have been withdrawing Bitcoin from exchanges at a very rapid rate and moving them to private wallets, bringing the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges to their lowest level in approximately 8 months. Outflows have been increasing, you can see right here, since March 18th. Now, why is this happening? Well, they do say there's 3 possible reasons. They just maybe want to hold their own Bitcoin. They might not trust exchanges, which, to be completely honest with you guys, if you don't have your cryptocurrencies on a ledger, and you're not actively trading, you are basically leaving your coins on an exchange, and that exchange could get hacked. Something shady could happen, right? And, remember, not your keys, not your coins. They could just be deciding, hey, man, I'm just going to put them in cold storage. I'm going to be a long-term hodler, and that is it. I agree. I have a lot of crypto in cold storage, and I'm not touching it. I don't care what these prices go to. That's what I'm doing personally. You do what you want. And then number 3, they're obviously concerned about the liquidity of exchanges amid the market downturn. Now, I want to point out one thing. If people are, in fact, taking a lot of cryptocurrency off of the exchanges and they're choosing to hold it, this could have both a positive and a negative effect on the markets. We could start with the negative. The negative effect would be that this does decrease the liquidity on exchanges, meaning that there's less actual coins to be traded, meaning that the order books are a lot thinner, which in turn means that you could move the price a lot easier, right? If there's less liquidity, you can seriously have more volatility, which means we could see crazier price swings for Bitcoin, which would not be good short term, which means we could see some crazy lower levels if we do have some panic selling. So that's sort of the negative. The positive is that we are seeing that these wallets are increasing. Right here, you can actually see the 3-day moving average of new addresses jumped 11.7%. That's a pretty incredible number. Almost 12% in a 24-hour period. This was between Wednesday and Thursday when they were looking at, a lot of the selling happening and a lot of the prices. The prices wasn't really fluctuating, but the coins were being moved off of exchanges. So you could take that as a good thing, meaning that they're not selling. You know what I'm saying? They're moving it into wallets that the addresses are increasing. It's not like they're moving them into the wallets and then they're just, those wallets are emptying, because they're talking about active wallets, new addresses. So just keep that in mind, that, there is a plus side and there is a negative side to this as well. Now, you can see right here, according to BitMEX research, they do say that strong fundamental trend does remain in a recent report that they basically said that the record influx of monetary and fiscal stimulus, we all know what's going on right now, which we'll get into, will give Bitcoin one of its, quote, biggest opportunities yet, as the potential inflation that will come to provide the necessity for a deflationary asset like Bitcoin. Obviously gold we've seen was doing pretty well too. They say, in our view, in this changed economic regimen where the economy and financial markets are set loose with no significant anchor at all, not even inflation targeting, it could be the biggest opportunity Bitcoin has seen in its short lifetime. Now, just to do a quick recap before we get on with the rest of the video, we do know that President Trump has signed a $2 trillion stimulus bill into law. This is to try and get funding to those who need it the most at this time. Another $4 trillion asset purchase program is expected by the Fed. We spoke a couple days ago about, the potential $6 trillion, right? That was just a potential. It didn't actually happen. But in any case, the Fed has hinted that more money basically does need to be flooded into the system in what is being dubbed as QE Infinity. This program aims to enable unlimited, keep in mind, purchases of assets while the pandemic that shall not be named is still happening. And the truth is that no one knows then it will. However, as Samsung Mal actually mentioned over here, he said, so basically, how much did they pay Trump to advertise Bitcoin? I actually want to play this clip for you kind of quick. The audio quality is a little bad, but it's 50 seconds, and then we'll continue talking about it.
You signed a bill today the size of which could choke an entire herd of horses. And before you even had a chance to put pen to paper, people were already talking about the need for phase 4. Yeah. Do you see phase 4, and where do you think the priorities are?
Well, maybe something where we're going to have to states, because the states have been hurt very badly. And the beautiful thing about our country is 6.2 trillion, because it is 2.2 plus 4. It's $6.2 trillion. And we can handle that easily because of who we are, what we are. It's our money, we are the ones, it's our currency. We can handle it, and we can handle, I watched Jerome Powell the other day, and he did a good job. He said, we'll do whatever we have to do. John, we have to do whatever we have to do.
Not really sure what was going on there. However, talking to a survey that was done by Kraken Intelligence. Now, this was over 400 clients from around the world. They were essentially asking them to gauge their crypto expectations for 2020. Interestingly enough, a lot of these guys are still bullish. However, the end of the year price targets are a little more realistic than what we were seeing last year, obviously due to a massive shift in global economic policy and, what's going on with the, pandemic thing. However, they do say that the average 2020 price target cited by the survey says that most people are looking at around a $22,866 Bitcoin by the end of the year. Not too shabby, still looking kind of good, right? They're also calling for an $810 Ethereum. Also outside of Bitcoin, their favorite cryptos were Ethereum, Monero, XRP, Litecoin, and Tezos, with 60% of them preferring Tether to be used as their go-to stablecoin. Also, just as another positive affirmation, we did have Ben Zhu, who is the CEO of ByBit. He actually chimed in on his opinion, and he said, this is over at Crypto Briefing, by the way, he said, in light of the recent events, it would be somewhat foolish of me to proclaim that the broader economy won't have any further impact on the crypto markets. You have to be realistic about this. If more people are losing their jobs, more people are, going into this unemployment and they're looking for that cash, they're going to sell the most speculative asset. They're going to sell Bitcoin, especially if they need this cash to survive. Just the other day, we found out that over 50% of Americans only have about $400 as an emergency reserve. Think about that. And especially if you're out of a job, you're going to need to use that money to pay for expenses, right? So he does say that, ultimately other factors will be important as they have seen this, but the Bitcoin halving, keep in mind, is also coming up in May. He says he is confident that this will have a positive impact on the price of Bitcoin, just as it did the previous 2 times. Also, he says he still is very bullish about mainstream cryptocurrency and blockchain adoption. In fact, I've actually heard some people using Warren Buffett sort of as their when to get back into the market strategy. We all know that he's sitting on a massive amount of cash and he hasn't deployed it yet. So basically people say that when Warren Buffett feels confident to get back into the markets, that's when they're looking to get back into the markets as well. Dollar cost averaging is also a great strategy for the average individual. Obviously not financial advice, but actually speaking about ByBit, I did want to mention one thing. Over here, they have actually introduced their new USDT contracts. Now, also in the same article, Ben mentioned, what does this mean? Well, essentially, traders are going to be able to long and short positions at the same time with different leverages. So this is going to essentially enable traders to minimize the liquidation risks by opening a long-term position and hedging this with a short-term position. So in the eventuality of a sudden drop in price, the profit yielded from the short position could then be used as an additional margin, which could prevent the liquidation of the long position. So essentially on ByBit, you can now, you will have longing and shorting available, and it'll be easier to move it around using USDT. So that is basically the news for that. You guys know how I do feel about ByBit. It is still my go-to exchange for futures trading. I do not recommend this. I stress, I do not recommend this for beginners. It is very risky, very volatile. However, if you are looking to potentially make money longing or shorting, betting against the price of Bitcoin, you can check out ByBit. I do have a tutorial popping up above. If you want to use my link below, it does help the channel out. You are supporting me. I do receive a small commission. You guys can also get up to $90 worth of rewards if you are interested, but I also want to talk about crypto, BitLord, the mysterious disappearance of this very popular crypto Twitter character. We've actually spoken to him before as well. So he basically had this tweet that came out. He says, "I'm over Twitter and I think it's best to leave this platform. Peace and prosperity to all." Now, some people are saying that it could have something to do with this. He's saying he's going to court. They're going to use some of his tweets. He might get 3 to 5 years. If I'm very lucky, if I get probation. I don't know any of the validity of this. I'm just basically mentioning what I've seen right here. So I don't know. We have to see what's going on. Now, there was this video that came out, and I wanted to play this video because it is an entertaining, kind of funny video, whatever, but I actually don't know if I really want to play this on my YouTube. Essentially, I will drop the link below, but this was him in a hospital bed, basically being potentially tested for the virus, and essentially he actually lights up, he sparks up a cigarette and starts smoking it, and the lady in the back calls for security to come in. I want to play this clip, but I'm not going to play it, so I'll drop the link below. If you guys are interested, you can watch it over on the Instagram. I don't know how long that clip will be up, but I do want to end on this very strange news that came out from Microsoft. So they're saying, is this creepy or is this cool? Check this out. So Microsoft files a patent for new cryptocurrency and mining system. So let's get into this. As per the patent, Microsoft states that are you ready for this? Human body activity needed to mine cryptocurrency could be very simple. We're not talking about forcing tribes of gym goers to run 20K here. In fact, it would be as little as a brainwave or a body heat emitted from the user when the user performed the task, provided information to the server, such as you could be viewing an advertisement or using certain internet services, and that could be enough to mine the crypto. The document goes on to say that this type of activity would replace massive computation work, proof of work like ASIC miners, currently required by some conventional cryptocurrency systems. This is because the data that is gathered from the body activity could be regarded as proof of work. Therefore, a user can solve the computationally difficult problem unconsciously. So what do you guys think about that? You could be mining cryptocurrency just by a brainwave or a heat pattern or some other type of response, okay? So basically, just to be clear, at this stage, Microsoft has not stated whether there's going to be a new cryptocurrency associated with this or what they're going to do about it or whether or not it's going to be based on a blockchain. It's pure speculation. I don't want you to kill the messenger. But I just want to let you know that this could be possible. And yeah, in a case that you were thinking about using the human brain waves to replace hash power, it's possible, and if that ever does happen, Microsoft could be the first to do it. So, on that note, guys, let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about this price. Do you think we do need to hit some of these lower levels? Do you think we're going to put in an ultimate double bottom down at around the 3.8K level? Are we going to go lower than that? You know, let me know what you guys think. Was that it? Obviously, today we did have that, pullback. We were kind of anticipating it with the wedge, but let me know what you guys think. Long term, obviously, I am definitely, Bitcoin to the moon. Short term, it could get crazy out there, guys. If the stocks take a hit, more people lose their jobs, it could get crazy, and it could get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. Basically what I'm saying, you need to be prepared for that. Do not invest more than you can afford to lose. I know everybody says that, but it's true. It's honest, guys. Don't be gambling away the rent money, the mortgage money, especially in a situation where we don't even know if we're going to have jobs, in the next up and coming months and what's going to go on with this. So hope you're being safe out there. I freaking love you guys. You're the reason that I try to get a video out every single day. Thank you so much once again for your support. If you guys want to join my absolutely free Telegram group, I do have a link above here. I do have a link in the description as well. Totally free, no catch. Just hang out, talk with a bunch of other people that love cryptocurrencies. I think that's about it for me today. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Be safe. We could go lower. It's possible. But like I said, I'm trying to get above that 7.8K level. For me, that would really be pretty good for Bitcoin. But, hey, we'll have to see what happens. Things could get crazy. Thanks again. You guys rock. I love you. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course,